So nightmares could really be impacting more than just a bad night of sleep. There's a new study now linking nightmares to faster aging. We bring in our 9 News medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. Nightmares are really accelerating our aging, and I'm sure there's a few reasons for this, but what is this study all about? What is it finding here?
I just presented at the neurology meeting, and it was very fascinating, in fact, because if you think about it as a doctor, I've never asked a patient, do you have nightmares? And patients have never really come to me and said, I have frequent nightmares. But what we're realizing is that it's actually a risk factor for aging. And they looked at 2 different metrics of aging, mostly blood tests, but also biomarkers that tell us how your DNA looks. So something about the length of your DNA tells us how fast it's aging. And the people that had nightmares every week were aging their DNA faster. They were also 3 times as likely to die before the age of 70. So this premature death signal. So this is the real deal, and it's something I'm going to start asking my patients about for sure.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about this like in the break, that light sleepers, they're the ones who are, more prone to dream and have nightmares, and like heavy sleepers, if you're in that deep REM, you don't dream, but like this is bringing in some more serious stuff. How does this work? Like, how does the aging element come into this?
So we're not quite sure if the nightmares are just a marker of something else bad going on in your life that's, also causing premature aging and death, or if they're actually directly causing. So that's association versus causation. But if you're assuming it's causal, you think about what happens when you have a nightmare. Your stress hormones, your cortisol is really, really amped up. On top of that, your sleep is really disrupted because you usually wake up upset, you're not getting good quality sleep. And what we're realizing is that sleep is really one of the pillars of how we age, because that's where all the cell damage is repaired. That's where all the restoration happens. So if your sleep is disrupted frequently because you're having a nightmare every week, that certainly is causing those cells to age faster.
Yeah, I'm curious because we were discussing how frequently people dream, how frequently people have bad dreams. I'm a light sleeper, I'm a bad sleeper, I dream all the time. You never dream.
No, I'm a bad sleeper, but I never, like maybe once or twice a year.
How common?
It's more common than you would think. So 10% of people, up to 10%, have nightmares every week. And up to 30% have nightmares every month. Now, what's interesting is a lot of factors go into whether or not we dream and whether we have nightmares. So women are more likely to have nightmares. Kids are more likely to have nightmares, and older adults less so, because the way that they sleep, their sleep architecture changes. If you have a history of any kind of mental health issues, anxiety, depression, PTSD, you're more likely to have nightmares as well. And certain medications, in fact, medications that I prescribe for cholesterol, for example, as a cardiologist, can change the way that your brain works as well, can cause nightmares. Certainly mental health medications and antidepressants can cause you to have vivid dreams too.
Well, help us out, especially us in particular, asking for ourselves, how do you get better sleep? Because I've just kind of been like, oh, I'm just not going to sleep well till my kids are, 10.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. It's hard, but it's something we have to be active about, ladies, every single day. Because what we do is we just roll into bed and we expect to get good quality sleep when we're scrolling our phone. So there's a lot of things that go into getting good sleep, and it starts usually about 3 hours before bedtime. So that 3 hours before bedtime, nothing stimulates your retina, no artificial light. So you're not watching TV, you're not scrolling your phone, you're turning down the music, you're turning down the lights, you're just kind of resting and meditating and getting your brain ready to start having good quality sleep. You want to avoid alcohol, which people think makes them sleep better. It makes them sleep longer, but it actually distorts the architecture so you don't sleep better. You want to avoid sleeping aids because it's the same sort of thing. They make you sleep faster, but they don't give you better quality of sleep. And then, of course, when you wake up in the morning as well, you want to have a wind up ritual too. So good sleep really means good sleep hygiene. Just like we brush our teeth, we have to think about how we sleep, and we need to start doing that several hours before bedtime. And don't eat dinner within at least 3 hours of your bedtime, because a full stomach doesn't make you sleep well either.
I'm thinking you're anchoring a newscast 3 hours before bedtime. Talk about stimulation of the brain.
Seriously, because I get home 1 hour and I'm passed out. So I've got to work on some things, Dr. Kohli. A lot to think about.
All these bright lights that are stimulating your retina.
Oh man, I can blame 9 News.
But you can do some meditation, some soft music, and that'll do it for you.
Fair enough. Dr. Kohli, thank you. You can find more with Dr. Kohli at 9news.com/Dr. Kohli.